If you see this on your bill, Tall Tales from the Crypt number 2341. Rain sat sulking in her dimly lit bathtub eating ramen. Her boyfriend had dumped her for the third time that month. Rain lit 3 red candles to create a sense of healing, the scent of dragon's blood filling the air. Shadows danced around the bathtub. Rain sat her noodles down outside the tub, leaned back into the water. Pepperoni, her cat, was eyeing her from the curtain rod above her. She wasn't sure why he wanted to perch somewhere so wobble. She closed her eyes content. It had been a long day at work for Rain. She breathed out a sigh as Pepperoni purred contentedly above her. Suddenly Pepperoni started screeching. He let out a 3-minute hiss and then leapt like an Olympic diver right into the bathtub. "What in the world is wrong with you?" Rain screamed as she jumped up. She fished Pepperoni from the water and flung him wet on the floor. Rain sat at her computer chair, water dripping, and typed, "Why would a cat suddenly jump in water?" and clicked. She scrolled the page rapidly. The earliest record of the Modzu's cult mentioned Modzu could foretell a person's good and ill luck and, after her death, the people erected a temple for her on her home island. Till this day a cat jumping in the bathtub with you is considered a sign that Modzu will visit you soon. Rain swiveled the chair around to look at Pepperoni. He stared back at her, sheepishly. Rain decided to forget such wives' tales. She picked her t-shirt for the next day. And settled into sleep. She could hear Pepperoni batting around her earbuds, making meows at them that sounded like, moo, moo. Rain laughed as she knew how much she loved that rascally cat. She fell asleep wondering if she would wake up to find her shoes scattered across the room, each one filled with pee. At first, Rain thought it was a prank or maybe a strange habit of Pepperoni's, but then she started noticing something even more bizarre. Whenever she tried to clean up the pee, Pepperoni would hiss and swat at her, as if protecting his strange treasure. The next day at work, Rain couldn't shake the feeling that something was off about her beloved cat. It just wasn't like him to jump in the tub. She turned on the nanny cam to watch him. At first it seemed he was up to his usual cat things, sleeping, watching the fish tank, but then things took a darker turn. Rain saw him meowing incessantly and pawing on her speakers. That's when really super, weird things started happening. Things that make you shiver in your booties. Boxes started showing up. Boxes of tunas. Then boxes of Christmas garland and then more tuna. But the thing was, Rain hadn't ordered these things. She read over the mailing label of the latest box. She was going to put a stop to this. She called Amazon. "I just keep getting boxes of tuna and stuff I didn't order," she announced. "Yes, I realize I can get refund, I just want to know why I keep getting things I did not order." That night, as Rain lay in bed, she heard a strange voice coming from her living room. She crept out of bed, heart pounding in her chest, and followed the sound to her Siri speakers. To her horror, she realized that Pepperoni was talking to Siri. Only this time, it wasn't Siri's usual robotic tone that answered Pepperoni. It was something darker, like a serial killer, like a terrible, bad killer voice like Hannibal Lecter. "Rain, my dear," it hissed. "You belong to Meowzu now. Give your life to Meowzu." Rain's blood ran cold as she looked around the room, the shadows seeming to close in on her. She felt a sudden surge of fear, the kind that grips you by the throat and refuses to let go. Pepperoni's eyes glowed at her. Rain let out a gasp and yanked every cord from the speaker, her hands trembling, but the speakers continued to blare ominous fortunes in her tinkering hands. What an excellent day for an exorcism. Demon, the exorcist. What an excellent day for an exorcism. Demon, the exorcist. What an excellent day for an exorcism. Demon, the exorcist. What an excellent day for an exorcism. Demon, the exorcist. What an excellent day for an exorcism. Demon, the exorcist. The speaker said 13 times, then the light flickered out and the speaker popped from Rain's hands and rolled to the floor. Demon horns popped from the speakers. Pepperoni dashed around the room as fast as he could, climb up the curtains and yowling. As Rain stumbled back, her heart racing. The room seemed to spin around her as she tried to gather her thoughts, to find a way to escape. But Pepperoni's commands now seemed to be coming directly at her through her Siri speakers. "Get me more boxes of Moo Moo Puffs, woman," the speakers demanded mercilessly. With trembling hands, Rain reached for her phone and typed in Moo Moo Puffs into her shopping search. Sure enough, they popped up. She shook inside as she knew the inevitable. She opened the orders page. 2,341 of them, she said to herself. "Oh no." Rain gulped, crying. She walked heavily, each step more leaden than before. She slid open the door. There they were. All 2,341 boxes of Moo Moo Puffs towering menacingly above her darkly. Rain shook like a leaf. She held the phone to her ear. She realized that the line was dead. Pepperoni's eyes bored down on her like daggers, chilling her to the bone. Rain wiped the sweat from her head, swooning in fear. "What are you waiting for? Go get the Moo Moo Puffs," the dead phone said into Rain's ear. Rain cried in horror as she realized that Pepperoni was now her master. She was nothing but a big meat puppet now. She fell down in despair, dragging in all 2,341 boxes of puffs and the special catnip bonus. She crawled in exhaustion, reached up, and threw the speaker across the room. Spring sprung from it. It chirped like a broken record, "And I'm living off of grass from the backyard. Give me designer grass now." The speaker shook, popping more springs. "It's okay to eat fish 'cause they don't have any feelings." The speaker shook again. Pop. 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 "It's okay to eat fish 'cause they don't have any feelings." With a heavy heart and trembling hands, Rain made her decision. She knew what she had to do to survive this twisted nightmare. Slowly, she approached Pepperoni, bowing on her knees ready to offer herself up as a slave to the malevolent force. And as she did, the room filled with an eerie silence, broken only by the sound of Pepperoni's wicked purring. Rain knew that she had sealed her fate. As the last vestiges of her humanity faded away, Rain could only watch in horror as Pepperoni circled around, wildly rubbing all over his boxes of Moo Moo Puffs. He smiled wicked slyly. He had succeeded in his dark plan to turn her into his loyal servant forever. A cat wrote this.